What's up, Darnell?
Hey, Alan, how's it going?
I'm good. I'm good. What are you going to make us for us today?
Today we're going to enjoy a really delicious variation on a classic honey apple cobbler, perfect for the fall weather that's coming in right now.
Interesting. All right, so let's get this going. For those of you, anybody here has the ingredients that we we post? Put your hand up. I just want to see who's actually doing this and following and making a drink. So we have Phyllis. Okay, Phyllis Cuomo is there, and a few more. Okay. All right. So let's make a drink. Show us what you do.
Yeah,
Little secrets, and you know what? And also give us a little tips for those of you of us that don't have like a full bar and all these fancy tools that you use. You know what we can use instead.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, hello, beautiful humans. My name is Darnell Hogwin. I've been in the beverage industry now for a little bit over 16 years, involved in so many different facets of it. That given me some great opportunities to know some of the things that we're going to be working on today. Well, the one cocktail that we're working on is a super classic here. This one is said to be the first ever shaken style cocktail. The cobbler style cocktail itself is a cocktail that really shortly born after the original cocktail itself, the old fashioned, the first ever classic, was the cocktail that was introduced thanks to in part for the fact that we had ice available more often than not in the sometime around the 1830s 1850s, and during that time we called it a cobbler because of the little cobbled pieces of ice inside of the glass, and it not only introduced the shaken cocktail, but it also introduced the use of a straw in a cocktail, being that you had a lot of different ice pieces inside of the glass. So this cocktail itself, super easy to make. It just requires a few ingredients. Now, to make cocktails at home, I often say it's not resources, it's resourcefulness. You just gotta get creative. You use what you have around you. You guys can see here I have a really fancy cocktail shaker. This is a Boston shaker. It's normally you may have seen as a glass with a metal tin fixed one into the other, just like that. For at home, you can always find these really awesome cobbler shakers. Funny, that's what we call them, because it was they called the cobbler shaker because it was for the first shaker ever. And it's a three-piece. It's got like a lid and a little cap. Those are really awesome to use. If you don't have that available, again, resourcefulness, right? Mason jar will do just fine. Anything with a tight lid, something that will allow you to create any contact with the ice from end to end. I also have here this little tool right here. It's called a jigger. It's obviously a fancy looking one over here. It's about 2 ounces to 1 ounce on this side. But for making cocktails at home, see, I use this at my bar here at Last Slap. And so we need something durable. But for cocktails at home, you can always use a shot glass. Using a shot glass is a great way to get ahead on measuring it. You could just use ratios for that. So with those ingredients, let's go ahead and kick it off. This cocktail, when we're building cocktails at home, one of the important things to know is that we want to do ice last. We want to unlearn that little habit that we normally have of putting ice in first before we put in our alcohol. Why? Well, because ice to a bartender is like fire to a chef. It is how we use it will affect the flavor and texture of our cocktail. But more importantly, unlike fire, ice melts. So if we put ice in first, and then we add in our ingredients, and as we go, we'll end up with a little bit more diluted than we really want, right? So, and one more thing, we want to make sure to work with our cheapest ingredients first. Why? Well, if you work with your cheapest ingredients first, we can go ahead and put in our syrup, we put in our juice, and I say, oh, darn, I went a little too much on that juice. I could get rid of that. But if I start with my spirit, and then I add my syrup, and I add too much juice, I'm not going to throw that away. That's alcohol abuse. And I don't think we're that kind of people, right, guys? We want to be kind to our spirit. We want to take care of our dollars. And we want to be sure that we have a balanced cocktail. So to kick off this cocktail, what you need is 3/4 of an ounce of fresh squeezed lemon juice. Now, a lemon can most commonly give you about 3/4 to an ounce in a whole lemon, depending on like how juicy it is. So I don't need to go ahead and measure this one entirely. I know that I'm going to get about 3/4 of an ounce here of lemon just from squeezing those right there. Starting off with our lemon, I got 3/4 of an ounce. Next, I want to go ahead and kick it with 1/2 ounce of a honey syrup. Honey syrup is essentially just that, much like a simple syrup. It is diluted honey. Honey on its own doesn't do a great job in diluting a cold liquid. So we have to loosen it up a bit. And we do that by just putting equal parts of honey and water. With that, we're gonna put half an ounce of our honey syrup with our lemon juice. Next up, to give this that little bit of a apple vibe, that fall vibe, we're gonna get either some apple cider or some pressed, I got here some cold pressed apple juice. Got real fancy out here in New York City. Got the opportunity to grab one. I'm gonna go ahead and do 1 full ounce measurement of our apple juice. And next up, this cocktail right here uses one of my personal favorite spirits, and that is rum. Rum, a very underrated and misunderstood spirit, is in fact responsible for a lot of the way the world works today. And in fact, even can be held responsible in part for the American Revolution itself. It was, in fact, the first spirit of the United States enjoyed by George Washington in his inaugural ball. So for that, we're gonna do a full 2 ounces of our rum, and that's gonna be basically a full shot glass worth. So that's gonna take 2 ounces of our rum in there. Now, inside of our tin, if you notice, we worked our way backwards, right? We started with our juice. We should have some lemon juice. We should have half an ounce of honey. We should have an ounce of our apple juice and 2 ounces of our rum of choice. So that's gonna kick us off, ready to go. What we're gonna do is shake this cocktail. So if you have a shaker, you wanna go ahead and fill your tin with ice. This right here, I'm gonna seal that. Little way to know that you have a good seal is to see if that sticks together. There we go. That worked really nicely. Now to shake, it's super simple, guys. You may have seen all these different fancy shakes happening all around. The process is much easier than that. So left hand on the bottom, right hand on top. You want it horizontal, making contact from end to end with the ice. And then one more important step necessary when doing this technique, it will affect the flavor of your cocktail. When you are starting to shake and creating that back and forth motion, it is important that you put on your best smile, all right? Well, if you're not smiling when you're shaking and making your cocktails, I promise you it's not gonna come out as yummy as it should be. So let's go ahead and get this nice and soft out. Give it a nice hard shake. Wanna frost it up. Aerate the cocktail. Get it nice and cold. Nice. Oof, it's got a nice little froth in there. I'm gonna go ahead and strain this cocktail into a stemmed glass. I'm gonna put that, so that way I'm just gonna keep it without any ice on this one right here. I'm gonna do it with a stemmed glass because I already got it nice and chilled. Nice little froth factor going on in there. That looks beautiful. You can kind of see that little foam right up top. That's a wonderful little effect that happens when you shake a cocktail. And last, I want to go ahead and garnish it. Got to look pretty before you enjoy it, right? I'm going to have a little apple here. I'm going to cut a slice of. I'm going to take a little apple slice. Just go ahead and flag that onto the edge of my glass like that. Boom. There you have it, guys. The honey apple cobbler. Salud. Cheers.
All right. Drink of the week brought to you by Team Bonding, where work meets play. Thank you for watching. If you would like to participate on our weekly happy hour show, you can find a link to sign up in the description below. Also, please consider subscribing to my channel by clicking right here, and don't forget to click on the bell so you are notified every time we publish new videos. To watch the next episode of the happy hour, go ahead and click here.